the thrilling world of Formula One, Aston Martin's recent upgrades have caught the attention of Max Verstappen, who believes they have closed the gap on his dominant Red Bull team. The Canadian Grand Prix witnessed the debut of Aston Martin's revamped engine cover and floor, reinforcing their impressive performance throughout the 2023 season. Let's dive into the details of Verstappen's observations and the exhilarating challenges he faced during the race. As the engine roared to life in Montreal, Aston Martin's pursuit of excellence reached new heights. Seeking to capitalize on their strong form this year, the team introduced innovative upgrades, leaving Verstappen duly impressed. These modifications have propelled Aston Martin to possess one of the fastest cars on the circuit, rivaling even the likes of Red Bull. Max Verstappen, filled with optimism, drew encouragement from Red Bull's latest victory, despite the circuit Gilles Villeneuve not aligning with the strengths of the team's RB19. Surpassing expectations, Verstappen triumphed over his rivals, finishing a staggering 9.5 seconds ahead of Fernando Alonso. This exceptional achievement can be attributed to the unique track conditions and the relentless upgrades introduced by Aston Martin. Fernando Alonso's sensational second-place finish in Montreal further solidified Aston Martin's credibility, as he secured his sixth podium finish in just 8 races. The team's relentless pursuit of success has not gone unnoticed, with Lewis Hamilton acknowledging that Aston Martin had surged ahead of Mercedes during the event. Verstappen concurs with this sentiment, acknowledging that Aston Martin has made strides closer to their Red Bull rivals. Speaking on the matter, he said, "Well, from our side, like I said, I don't think it was our best day because of the tire temps and stuff, so that doesn't help. But I also know that with their updates, they naturally, of course, improved. So for sure, they got close to us." Reflecting on the race, Verstappen candidly admitted that it wasn't his team's finest day due to issues with tire temperatures. However, he emphasized the natural improvement Aston Martin achieved through their updates. This improvement was evident in the reduced gap between the two teams. Despite Red Bull's ultimate victory in Canada, Verstappen acknowledged that Aston Martin's progress had significantly narrowed the margin, creating a captivating battle for supremacy. The Canadian Grand Prix posed an enigma for Verstappen as he entered the race, uncertain of his car's performance. Unpredictable weather had altered the track surface, adding an element of mystery to the already challenging circuit. Nonetheless, Verstappen's courage and adaptability led him in the right direction, enabling him to navigate the track's intricacies and secure a well-deserved victory. Contrary to the previous race at Circuit de Catalunya, where Verstappen dominated with an uninterrupted win, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve presented its own challenges. With fewer long corners conducive to tire temperature buildup, drivers struggled to extract maximum performance from the medium and hard tire compounds. Verstappen, acknowledging the hurdles, highlighted the difficulties in maintaining tire temperature due to the track's low grip and rubber content. He said, "It was quite tough to keep the tires in the right window. They were always running quite cold, so we had to push actually quite hard on the tire. With low grip, low rubber, it was not the easiest or most straightforward. That stint was a bit of a limitation. Because of the harder compound, it was even harder to keep the tire temps. We know that our car normally is very good when there's high deg compared to other cars," Verstappen explained. "Probably you would have needed a car which is a bit harder on the tire to keep the temperatures in. So it's probably not been our best race. But still, to win by 9 seconds, I think that shows we have a great car," he added. Throughout the race, Verstappen showed his strategic prowess by switching from medium to hard tires, exploiting their characteristics to gain an advantage. Acknowledging the limitations imposed by the harder compound, Verstappen reflected on the need for a car that could preserve tire temperature effectively. Nevertheless, his 9-second victory margin demonstrates the prowess of the Red Bull team, underscoring their strength even in challenging circumstances. Verstappen's exhilaration during the race was not limited to the competition at the front. He found himself on high alert, constantly monitoring the pace of Alonso and Hamilton, who were nipping at his heels. The Dutch driver focused relentlessly, assessing his rival's progress and adjusting his strategy accordingly. Negotiating the demanding street circuit in Montreal, Verstappen realized the importance of staying vigilant and avoiding even the slightest mistakes that could lead to costly time losses, or worse, a collision with the unforgiving walls. "I was not worried about Alonso and Hamilton's pace, but you are alert because you keep checking. Is he catching or not?" Verstappen said. "What do I need to do? Because at the beginning of the race, when he passed Lewis, Okay, let's see what his pace is. And then initially it was quick, and then I could manage my pace around it. And then on the hard tires, I think the beginning was good, like I was creating a bit of a gap. But then I started to struggle with my tires a little bit. So it's constantly just talking to your engineers, seeing, of course, on the pit board what's happening, he added. He concluded by saying, you can't relax too much. And especially today with the tires being so cold, you have to be on it all the time, especially also here a street circuit. A tiny mistake is big lap time lost, or you're in the wall. Verstappen's victory margin at the Canadian Grand Prix marked one of the team's closest finishes this season, with only the Australian Grand Prix ending under the safety car producing a smaller margin. Verstappen admitted that he did not push his car to its absolute limits throughout the race, citing the tire behavior as a contributing factor. The dynamic nature of the race, with lap times fluctuating unpredictably, necessitated a delicate balance between pushing for optimal performance and ensuring tire preservation. It's tough because normally it's all about tire management, but today was definitely more about pushing, he said. But sometimes it was just going up and down a lot in lap time, so then sometimes you couldn't actually push to the limit because you didn't know what you were going to get. Talking further on the struggles, he added, for me, on the hard tire, it was quite a bit of a struggle. Then on the medium, I wanted to open up that gap a little bit more. So then, of course, at one point, you're seeing like 10, 15 laps to go, and you have a good gap. You don't want to take too many risks. It's probably not flat out pushing, but you cannot relax too much because then you lose the heat in your tires. So somewhere in the middle of that, I don't know what the percentage is. Verstappen speculated that Fernando Alonso's proximity to him at the end of the race could be attributed to a combination of factors. Firstly, the Red Bull car's relative competitiveness in Montreal was not at its peak, offering Alonso an opportunity to close the gap. Additionally, the upgrades introduced by Aston Martin also played a role in their improved performance, making them a formidable competitor on the challenging Canadian circuit. As the F1 circuit descended upon the Canadian Grand Prix, all eyes were on Aston Martin and their touted upgrade package. Would it be the game changer the team needed to upstage their rivals? Surprisingly, Mark Hughes, a renowned F1 pundit, believed that Aston Martin's success cannot be solely attributed to the upgrades. There's a hidden element at play. He said, I think it was probably more of track that played the part in their performance. Because if you look at the reduction in the gap at the end of the race, if you assume that the Red Bull stayed still, stayed where it was and didn't have any difficulties, and was at its normal potential, it would infer that Red Bull upgrades are worth half a second, and I don't believe that it is. That would be an extraordinary upgrade. But that's not to say that the upgrade is not giving them something. I just don't think it's giving them as much as it would appear from the result. I think that's more. If you are trying to access it, you are just in the realm of educated guesswork. But I'd say it's probably 70-30 track-to-car ratio in terms of the update, he added. The Formula One universe was treated to a captivating spectacle in Canada, as Aston Martin showcased a renewed vigor and competitive spirit. Verstappen's recognition of the team's progress only intensified the thrill, adding further intrigue to the ongoing battle for supremacy on the racetrack. With Aston Martin closing the gap on Red Bull, the upcoming races promise even more exhilarating moments as these fierce competitors vie for glory and claim their place in the history books of Formula One. Well, what do you think, fellas? Did Aston Martin get closer to Red Bull like Verstappen claims? Or do they have to work on it a lot more? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If this was your first time here, drop a like and share and subscribe for more exciting videos. Hit that notification bell and stay tuned.